Dear sisters and brothers, welcome to the 11th broadcast of the Time Chronicles. This is a broadcast for March 21st, 22nd, and 23rd. So it is 3 days, it's covered 3 days. So March 21st was the day of the white resonant wind, according to the law of time calendar system. March 22nd was the day of the blue galactic night, and March 23rd is the yellow solar seed. It seems that I instinctively prefer to prepare my broadcasts on the seed days, for I don't know which reason I have, and the yellow solar seeds are really my favorite. Perhaps I'd like to say that. Because I'm also a seed, a warrior seed myself. That's why. I assume. March 21st was the equinox, starting of the spring, but it was very cold where I live, and this was accompanied by a freezing wind. It's a slightly different wind, and the white resonant wind, it's called, is carrying the ion particles of a cold beta energy. You feel the cold in your bones, and you cannot get warm no matter you do to heat the house or to heat yourself. And really you must consider yourself as lucky if you are able to pull this cold beta energies, because it's very useful for the human advancement. And it's a youth energy, actually. It keeps you alive and it keeps you young. So this cosmic energy was downloaded on the planet through those beings who could pull this with their brain power. And March 22nd was the blue galactic night, where plans are integrated on the energy that was downloaded. Think about the energy as a cement, and the plans are how you are going to build the construction, a building. Assume you can be building. And so you are building a structure, in a way, to plant something on it. And that's what you plant is the yellow solar seed, and that is planted on the March 23rd. The ion winds, or the eon winds, mean that the wind is loaded with some energy particles. These particles can be negative ions, and beta energy is similar to this because it's cold, and the negative ions cause depression, sleeping disorders, and the positive ions make the magnetic field loaded more like energy of a bull. You're going to attack something, or it's more like a gamma wind. You cannot keep yourself at a place, so you're constantly on the move. Your mind is racing, something like that. The gamma energy causes a rage of unusual events that disturbs the comfort zone of the humanity. It's mostly associated with a crisis, a war, and the reason why is to observe how humanity acts under such a circumstances. It's under such a crisis situation, and it's measure the level of the collective consciousness. Actually, if you don't do something extraordinary, how you're going to measure the real consciousness level? That's why things are done. But if you once show how high you have a consciousness, the measurement units change and the exam types change. So we better raise this consciousness and show to our measurers that we are already there. If the collective consciousness is low, as you know, heavier programs are implemented to train the humans. And if the consciousness of some beings are higher than the average, actually they suffer the most, because they feel like they are living in a time zone, or they're living in a geography that they do not deserve, they do not belong to. They cannot live happily unless they do something to raise the level of the average human collective consciousness. Even if they change places, they move to somewhere else, and they cannot change their programs because they end up with similar responsibilities. So it's better to face those responsibilities or duties or missions as soon as they can. So it's called serving the humanity. No matter you do, you just have to have the reason of serving the humanity. Since we live in a closed system until humanity reaches a threshold of collective consciousness, we will continue to live in an ascending range of heavy evolution programs. So we better evolve quicker to meet higher dimensions. But it is easier said than done, of course. So what is this threshold then? How can we measure it? We graduate from this closed system when we reach a dimension called Omega. And this is the 19th dimension. Omega is a dimension that has 9 channels. And these channels are a vehicle to transform the energy from the Omega dimension to our dimension. It's kind of a downloading of an energy. And each of these channels can carry an energy that can be tolerated and processed on Earth. Only 4 of these channels are open, and each of the channel carry now 19 hertz, so that the total frequency is 76 hertz. That can be processed by the whole humanity. Even this is high for the humans on the average. And some people have stronger brains and capabilities, and they can tolerate an energy frequency of 76 times 4, so it's 304 hertz. This is coming from the Omega dimension. I mean, if you can tolerate more, you can pull more energy. 4 channels of Omega were opened in the year 1989. The third one opened in 1988. The second, 1987, when the harmonic convergence of the magnetic poles of the Earth took place. And in 1987, a spiritual work was carried out called the Rainbow Bridge. We talked about it earlier. I guess it was to smoothen this energy and to download this energy in the benefit of the whole humanity. And really lots of spiritual work flourished after that. And in 1988, the first 18 program works were carried out, for instance. I mean, maybe we can talk about it in another broadcast. What are the 18 programs? The first Omega channel opened in 1986. The first 19 frequency is about the 7 Earth layers knowledge. This is a construct. It means that there are 3 sections for a knowledge set. It is the Earth, the sky, and the universe. So the first 7 layers were opened with this 19 frequency. Actually, there are 49 layers of each group. 49 Earth, 49 sky or firmament, we call, or 49 universe. So this prepared the human consciousness for the 4th dimension, the first 7, I mean. First 7 Earth layers of this knowledge. The beta link was integrated into the Alpha channel that maintained the communication between the skies and the Earth. And in 1987, the second Omega channel was opened, which downloaded the second 19th frequency for the 7 firmament or sky layers of knowledge. And this corresponds to the Saturn as the door towards the Omega exit road. Saturn is the 18th dimension. The third Omega channel represents then the 7 universe layers of knowledge, and this opening was the year 1988. A very special program was carried out that prevented the human extinction that was actually planned for 1999. Nobody knows about this. So we are living now, we exist now, thanks to these special programs that were carried out by conscious human beings, brothers and sisters. The fourth mega channel, Omega channel, was opened in the year 1989, and it prepares humanity for a proper exit, or let's call graduation from the closed system. A tough selection process has started to train the humanity. In 1989, collecting and dispersing fields were built through these energies, and spiritual work that was carried out to construct these fields. And then positive energies were collected through these fields, and negative energies were dispersed, destroyed through these functional magnetic fields. In 1990, this was the year of the tough program, such as the Gulf crisis, you may remember, or it was techno music instead of love songs of the 80s, indicating that the Earth resonance has moved from alpha to beta. The issue of conscience became more important because it was the only way to keep the justice on Earth. It was the only way to distinguish the right from wrong. More advanced thought forms were generated by strong spiritual work on Earth. 1991, a neighboring closed system was contacted. It is like thinking of a parallel universe concept that opened to the humanity. And then strong beings were transferred to Earth to help the humanity during this transition of the main harvest period. 1992 was the year when the Galactic Federation made more intensive contacts, and many beings involved in channeling were mentioning these messages they were getting from the Federation. 1992-1993 were the first years where it was mentioned that the humanity can handle now an open system, and a lot of work was carried out so that the humanity would not face a destruction in 1999. An extension of time was allocated, which is about until the year 2118. Until an open system is going to be constructed. Actually, it was tried in 2018, but it was not successful. So it was a delay for about 100 years. But don't think about it as 100 years because the time is narrowed down. It's not shortened, it's narrowed down. It's another concept. It's more tight now. Perhaps we're going to see an open system. I strongly believe in it. What is the advantage of the open system is that our thought forms will be transformed into a matter. We will see a more quicker transition from thought into the matter. So that requires a better thought form, so more advanced consciousness, and a product of this more advanced consciousness is going to be achieved more strongly and more openly, explicitly in an open system. Certainly, there would be really beings who are already connected to this open system, I mean at the moment, who can take the energies and information from outside of this closed system from the open system into the closed system. Otherwise, how would we be able to know it was a closed system, right? So we are going to make it one day into the open system with open consciousness. Now we have closed consciousness. We don't remember who we were in the past, and we don't remember our really home planets or where we come from. So it's going to be an open consciousness and open system. And we need the graduation into the Omega, the 19th dimension, to achieve this. Of course, there's a long way between the 18th dimension and the 19th dimension, since it is a transition for a graduation. And this is why all programs on Earth are designed to give the humanity a graduation to outside of the closed system, even though that seems to be opposing to this program. Duality exists until the 7th dimension, and after the 7th dimension, there is another type of training programs until the Omega exit. The road to Omega has two basic parts. Actually, it has many parts, but we can divide into basic parts. One is a section from the 3rd dimension to the 7th, and the second part is from the 7th dimension to the 19th. The first section resembles to a baby growing in the womb of her mother, and the second part is like a process of a natural birth. Which part do you think is more difficult? I believe, personally speaking, the second part is more difficult, because you have to use your own power to be born to the Omega, and it's not about yourself only. You have to help other people to grow from the 3rd to the 7th dimension, and then make them willing and able to make the Omega birth. So it's not about yourself only. And then, once you graduate, Omega is also composed of layers, so you don't finish your journey over there, and there's still a long way to go to higher dimensions. Yes, the journey is long and difficult, so you need a strong vehicle, which is highly calibrated, and this vehicle is you. As you may remember, Drunvala Melchizedek, he states in his Flower of Life teachings, this vehicle is you, and it is called the Merkaba. When you get familiar with various spiritual teachings, you'll understand that all of these serve to the same purpose, and that's why these knowledge sets need to be unified if you really want to have a world or a universe you can imagine in unity. So we need unity, and we need all the knowledge to be unified. By the way, let me tell you before we end this conversation that the picture at the beginning of this video is created by AI, artificial intelligence, and it is basically the words, the Omega Sun is rising. This is the construct I gave, and of course with lots of comments, other comments to create the visual art, and it carries the frequency of these 3 days, I assume. Please listen to my previous broadcasts of the Time Chronicles on my YouTube channel, and if, of course, you haven't already done this, and please, if you like them, if you feel yourself resonating with these broadcasts, please help me spread the word. So take care until the next time.